For the past year now, I've made my podcast with a company called Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First, it's free. That's right, it doesn't cost you anything to make your own podcast. They have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your own podcast right from the computer or your own phone. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and every other place. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's really easy. You'll have your podcast up and running in no time. Go to Anchor. Welcome, everyone. This is episode 51, March 10th of Beer in Front. How is everyone doing this week? All right, this week is going to be a good show. They're all good shows. Let's stop the nonsense here. They're all good shows. But this week's a good one. I sat down yesterday and I talked to Rob from the Fat, Drunk, and Stupid podcast. That was a good talk. Now, I'm going to try something a little different this week, where before, when I had an interview, which seems like it's been a lot lately, what is this, the fourth or fifth week in a row, I just run them all together. But I've had some feedback from, people that have listened, and they kind of miss the shorter 15, 20-minute episodes. So I'm going to try something new. We'll see if this works. If it doesn't, then we'll just go back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 2 episodes this week, or I'm going to have 2 episodes the weeks where I have an interview, and I'm going to include part of the interview. Then I'm just going to have the rest of the show, and then probably tomorrow or Friday, I'm going to put out the rest of the interview. Maybe I'll have another beer. I'll call someone else a jag-off, and that way everyone's commute is happy. They're a nice, quick 15, 20-minute episode, so we'll see how that works out. If you don't like it, please let me know, and we'll go from there. But I'm just trying to, make some people happy, see how this works, and we'll give it a whirl. Nothing's etched in stone, but let's try it out. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see that the last week of March, and I posted this last night, so the week of March 28th, we're both going down to get our second vaccine. And from what I understand, the second one kind of knocks you on your rear end. So I'm not going to do a show that week. But instead of just taking the week off, I kind of had the idea, why don't I let you run the show? So if you want, this is what I'm offering here. Record a 3-minute segment. If you go over by a few seconds, that's fine, but try to keep it around 3 segments. And I want you to describe your beer in front. Maybe a beer that you love that, doesn't get talked about a lot. If you're outside of Chicago and you're tired of me talking about a Revolution beer or something else, or a Half Acre, talk about a beer that's local to you that you think more people should know about. If you have a podcast or a blog or a website you want to plug, go right ahead. The 3 minutes are yours. But yeah, please, include a beer. I want you to talk about a beer, not just a 3-minute, plug for a podcast. So, if you want to talk about yourself, talk about the beer in front. If you have enough time left over and there's a jag-off out there you want to call out, the 3 minutes are yours. So if you're interested, you could get a hold of me. Email me at dave@beerinfront.com. You could upload or email me the file, and I'll include it on the show that's going to come out the last week in March. Also, if you're having issues with that, you could just send me an email, DM me on Twitter. I could maybe set up a quick Zoom link where you could record on that, and I could just keep the file from there. So I hope this works. I hope I get some, people that want to do it. I've talked to a few people, and they seem to be gung-ho about it, so it should be a good show. So if you have a beer you want to talk about, it's your episode. And there's really only one rule I have for this, where I've talked about personally, I don't drink Founders. I don't drink Stone anymore. I don't drink Boulevard because I think they're jag-offs. So the only rule is don't include beers from them, because until they get their act together, they don't deserve any love. And actually, after the last day or so, let's include Brewdog in this list. So don't include beers from them. There's plenty of good beers out there from good people. So let's focus on those. In beer news, Brewdog. Now, it was great timing. This was fantastic. On International Women's Day, they fired every single woman on the staff, and they did this for, this is a quote, a change in culture. And before I continue on, this was just the Indianapolis location of Brewdog. I'm not sure what they're doing in the rest of their culture, but it's bad enough but this is just Indianapolis here. You fired all the women on your staff. You're just a bunch of douchey white guys drinking beer. You're jagoffs. So no more Brewdog. And I'm okay with that. Your beer's not that good. Now, I've talked about the Black is Beautiful beers that have been out since the summer. This was started by Weathered Souls Brewing in Texas, where breweries from all over the country, all over the world for that matter, brewed their version of the Weathered Souls, their basic recipe, and the proceeds went to the Black community, different Black charities, things of that nature. Good idea, great initiative. This is where it like boggles my mind and it makes me speechless, where the owner or whatever he is with this Back Unturned was asked, where was this money sent? And the guy said, I'm working with a local Black business owner. I don't feel, I don't have to disclose percentages or anything of that with you. God bless. Of course, he had to include God bless, which is just nonsense in itself. But you did this to one of the people who started this initiative with Weathered Souls. So you're just pretty much telling him, F you, I'm giving it to who I want. And then it gets better. Like, he's saying that he's doing this, he gave this money to a local business owner that turns out to just be his personal trainer. So I'm sure he gave him a couple bucks for, free training lessons. You are just a jagoff. I'm glad you're not widely distributed, because Back Unturned, you are just a prick jagoff. I'm not even at the jagoff of the week segment, and I've already called two breweries out for being jagoff. So Back Unturned, you can go F yourself. All right, welcome back to Beer in Front. I want to welcome him, and I'm very happy he's back podcasting, Rob from the Fat, Drunk, and Stupid podcast. Now, Rob was probably one of the first independent podcasters to follow me when I started. He's very supportive of people in this genre. I mean, most of us, we're all just, knuckleheads doing this independently, or no one's making a ton of money, but the Fat, Drunk, and Stupid show is very good to listen to. He's a great follow. So, Rob, welcome. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Now, why don't you tell everybody, that doesn't listen to you, that just listens to my show, tell everyone a little bit about yourself and where they could find you.
Sure. So if you want to keep up with the show on Twitter, it's at FDS Podcast 7. I don't have any other socials. I'm a little social media averse, I guess you could say. But yeah, so it's on there. And I also have a YouTube channel. You can look up Fat, Drunk, and Stupid, because what I started doing was uploading kind of like what you do. You upload the audio to YouTube, and and so I also have some that I did. If the guest is cool with it, I'll record the video too and put that on YouTube and things like that.
Okay.
But yeah, the podcast basically is just me. I do some solo episodes, and I will also have some guests and some other podcasters, stand-up comedians. I've had writers on there, just kind of people who, if I run across them and I think that what they do or what they talk about, I think it might be interesting, then I'll reach out to them and that kind of thing. So, I like to have a good beverage along the way too. So that's a part of it. It's not a requirement. Someone asked me that they were going to be on the show, and they're like, "Do I have to drink? I'm not really a drinker." I was like, "No. I'll drink enough for both of us. Don't worry about that." Okay.
Yeah.
But it really
I'll
is
pick up your end of it. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. It really is just a show about nothing really nothing in particular, just kind of life. I share some stories. I'll talk about, kind of what's going on currently a little bit. I share some stuff about my life, whether it's some police stuff or military stuff from when I used to do that. And then just kind of leave it open and just have fun with it. That's the main thing.
Now, how long have you been doing the show total?
Started it September of 2019, and
Okay.
I've had some breaks here and there. But yeah, the first one was September 5th. It's my birthday. We did it. I did it with my friend of mine named Ben, who we play guitars together, and
Right.
so he got me a bottle of Bullet Bourbon for my birthday, and I said, "Hey
Nice.
man," I said, "I'm waiting to podcast. Would you want to do one?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." So, and I wasn't even on Twitter then, so but we did it. It was a lot of fun. We just we did what we normally do when we hang out. We just had a microphone with us, and so it kind of went from there. I got on Twitter about, I think, April or May of last year is when I decided to make a
Hell, you've
Twitter.
got don't you have 5,000 follows? Look at you.
I I actually just noticed that. I
Yeah.
swear, I just noticed that like 3 days ago, because I don't
Yeah.
really pay attention to that kind of stuff, to be
No.
honest with you. But it's weird because when I went on I hadn't done any podcasting since October, and the whole month of October I deactivated Twitter,
Mhm.
and but when I came back, I was getting quite, a lot of people. I noticed I was getting a lot of people following me for whatever reason. And I said, well, I haven't done any podcasting, but I tried to stay, like you mentioned, I tried to still support, you and folks that I really like and folks that I admire. And I think, do a really good job. And so I think that's something I learned very early on when I got on Twitter. I didn't know it was this big network of independent podcasters. And
Yeah.
I learned that, I mean, to get supported, you have to support other people. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes,
Mhm.
So that's something I learned very early on, and I've always tried to stick to.
All right, I do want to thank again Rob from the Fat, Drunk, and Stupid Show for that interview. That was part one of the interview. Part two will be released either tomorrow or Friday, and you'll hear the rest of the interview with Rob. It was a good chat. Good to sit down and talk to the person. We've been following each other on Twitter for a while, so it was nice to, talk to the person via Zoom or whatever. But yeah, you could hear the rest of the interview in a couple days. Some of the beers that I had this week, I had another one from Chapman Crafted Beer out in Orange, California that Oscar hooked me up with. This was called Social Butterfly. This was an apricot wheat that I really liked. The apricot was very subtle, but was nice. I could see this more as a summer beer, which, I think I could definitely knock a few of these down. This one was really good if you're out in California. Everything from Chapman has been good that Oscar has sent me from the Everything Show. Can't wait to get out there and try some of those, try that in person. But yeah, that was Social Butterfly from Chapman Crafted Beer. I had a great one that I liked from Saint Laurent. This was Loco Nuts. This was an imperial stout that had coconut in there, had some vanilla, had coffee. I enjoyed this one a lot. Control Tammy picked up a mix pack at Moore. I had the Honor, which was a double Imperial IPA that I enjoyed a lot. This one was really good. It had a nice balance. It had the bitterness of an old school beer. This was really good. If you see Honor, pick that one up. And now I'm going to get to, I've had a couple hazy ones this week that were good. There was nothing wrong with them. I think I need to jump off the hazy train for a while. They're all starting to taste the same. And they're good beers. They're beers from really good breweries, but I don't know. They're all seeming to blend together to me. So maybe I just need to jump off the hazy train for a while, recalibrate my taste buds, but yeah, I'm having some, hazy ones that, I think would be a good beer, but they're all just kind of blending together at this point. So I'm going to jump off the hazy train for a while. You'll hear me talk about some different beers in future weeks because, yeah, they're starting to get a little old for me. Oh, the beer in front of me this week I'm looking forward to. This is called Truth. This is an IPA from Rhinegeist. Now, they're based out of Cincinnati, and they just started distributing to Chicago last week. So I've really been looking forward to them. They've had a lot of good reviews. I picked up a couple different ones from them, but this is just a plain IPA, 7.2% with 75 IBUs. So I'm hoping this is a good one. Let's check it out. Oh, this looks really good. This has a nice amber color to it. Good, really good aroma. This so far so good on this one. Wow, I'm really digging this one here. The taste on this is spectacular. You've got a nice little tropical note to it. You have some, citrus from the hops on here with a good bitterness to this. I'm really liking this one a lot. Truth has some great carbonation to it. It has a good finish. It finishes a little dry. You get the bitterness on the back end. I think this is a well-balanced, really good IPA that I'm liking a lot. Truth uses Amarillo, Citra, Simcoe, and Centennial hops. They use a Cara Red and Vienna malt with this, which explains a nice reddish color. No, this is a really good beer. If you like just regular old school IPAs, I recommend Truth from Rhinegeist. And I can't wait to try the other beers, and welcome to Chicago. All right, it's time for the Jagoffs of the Week. Democratic Senator out of Arizona, Kyrsten Sinema. She campaigned before about the minimum wage. And this is a direct tweet from her. A full-time minimum wage earner makes less than $16,000 a year. This one's a no-brainer. Tell Congress to raise the wage. Okay, now thinking that, you're going to think, all right, the vote's coming up to raise the minimum wage. God, based on that, you think she's voting yes for it. But no, she literally brings cake into the Senate, which is a nice optic, let them eat cake. And she walks up with her nice little Lulu bag on and does a little curtsy and gives the big thumbs down to vote no on it. So Kyrsten, you're a liar, you're a hypocrite, and you're a jagoff. Republican Senator out of Arkansas, Tom Cotton. Now, he's a real douche canoe as well. He tweets out that Dylan Roof murdered 9 people. He's on federal death row, and he'll be getting a $1,400 stimulus check as part of the Democrats' COVID relief bill. Now, Tommy, that may be all well and true, but now you voted for the CARES Act, which gave the stimulus checks to prisoners last year. So why was it okay for Dylan Roof to get this money last year and it's not okay now? And I fully agree with Senator Cotton on this, that people on death row should not be getting the stimulus check. I agree with him on that. That's ridiculous. But if you did it and you signed the bill for one president and now you're criticizing the other president for doing what you signed, you're a hypocrite and you're a jagoff. And if you want to talk about that, let's talk about you signed to give Jeffrey Epstein a big tax cut in 2017. Now, it wasn't just Jeffrey Epstein, but it was everyone else in that tax bracket. So, you're not complaining about that, but you're complaining about Biden's and the Democrats' tax relief bill. So you're a hypocrite and you're a jagoff. Oh, but the real jagoff of the week. Now, let's have a little historical lesson here, shall we? Now, the great pirate Blackbeard, his reign of terror was brief. His reign of terror was only roughly 15 months. The Nazi blitz against London, that only lasted 8 months, and that destroyed roughly 1/3 of London, but that really only lasted about 8 months. The Magna Carta, that was only in force for roughly 1 year. The Magna Carta, only 1 year. Now, surely everyone's heard of the Spanish-American War. Everyone knows about the Spanish-American War. The fighting on that lasted roughly just a little bit over 2 months. And Julius Caesar, you know him, his reign only lasted less than 2 years. Julius Caesar, we all know him. You've had his salad. He's only lasted 2 years. Now, where am I going with this? Oh, the big jagoff of the week. Papa effin' John, he says that he's been working for the last 20 months to get rid of this N-word from my vocabulary. He also says that he's not a racist. Now, Papa, if it's taking you, and I guess it's still ongoing because you're still working on it, if it's taking you 20 months to stop saying a word, I'm saying, yes, you are a racist. If the Spanish-American War lasted longer than you saying the N-word, you're a racist. You're a piece of garbage and you're a jagoff. Just shut the hell up, go home, sit and collect your money in Louisville, and just go the F away. Your pizza sucked anyway. Once again, these are my opinions only. Don't sue me or anything like that. These are just my opinions. But your pizza sucked. You suck. You're a jagoff. 20 months, idiot. All right, that's going to wrap things up for the March 10th edition of Beer in Front. I'm going to call this one episode 51.1. The rest of the interview with Rob from Fat, Drunk, and Stupid will be out by Friday, and I'll call that one 51.2. So please check that one out on Friday. I'm going to have another beer, twist my arm, I'll call someone else a jagoff, but I definitely want you to listen to the rest of the interview because we had a good time just shooting the breeze, having a beer, talking about everything, so it'll be worth your time, I promise. And don't forget, the last week of March, you're in charge of the podcast. So please, I want as many people as possible. Please, I want you to talk about your beer in front. So you could email me. Please record it up to 3 minutes in length. You know, if it goes a tick over, that's cool. 3 minutes in length. Talk about the beer in front, the beer that excites you, the beer that you love. I want to hear about it. Get it to me by Saturday, March 27th. So email it to me at dave@beerinfront, or if you're having an issue with recording it, just get a hold of me. You could email me, follow me on Twitter, and just DM me, and we'll work something out where we can get a recording of this. Like I said, if you have a podcast, if you have a blog or a website you want to plug, if you want to call someone a jagoff, squeeze it all into the 3 minutes, but I definitely want to hear about your beer. So thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you all again in a couple days.